I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talents in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones. And too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their home, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I help formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughter started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way, but don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself.
National Action Network. Power in action. 35 years of justice, impact, and purpose.
Wow. This is the Saturday after I had done 90 days in federal jail for leading a protest in Vieques, Puerto Rico. And I had went down to join Latino activists that were against the Navy bombings that was exercising Navy bombings that was causing asthma and health effects among the children there. And I was on my way to Saturday rally one Saturday, and I said, if they're going down there protesting that, and there were protesters, they would go out in the Navy base in the field and lay down, and they'd arrest them for being on federal property. And if they were doing that, then I would join them, because many of the Latino leaders went to jail with us protesting Amadou Diallo. I ended up having to do 90 days in federal jail. They transferred me from the federal prison in Puerto Rico, me and 3 others that went. They only got 40. It's Thursday, March the 12th, Women's History Month. Do you know what time it is? It's Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to you all across the country. Good morning to our West Coast listeners, and welcome to those listening on Sirius XM. Channel 126, The Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. I'm coming to you live from our National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York. And for the next 3 hours, you can join the conversation by calling in at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can go on our message board and send me a message on the message board, and I will be glad to read your message on the show. Heard all over the world. We get calls now from everywhere, and I'm excited about it. Our 20th year of doing this radio show and 35th year of National Action Network, and been in this journey a long time because it's a life commitment for me. You know, a lot of people, it's interesting to me when people say to me, you ever think about retiring? I said, no. I do intend to transition and do other things, but I won't be retiring from the movement. You know, I certainly will give up the presidency of National Action Network. We get set, we go in a new building, all I get it established. And at some point down the road, see about when I want to stop doing radio and TV, and maybe write books, travel, lecture, whatever. But I'm never going to get out the movement. I don't even understand people that think you can retire from freedom fighting. You can only transition where people work from. So you may work from a pulpit or work from a studio, or like me, work from both, or work from writing, but you never lead a movement. And with the generations coming behind us, we need to spend a lot of time training. One of the things I want to do in our new headquarters is have an institute to train people on activism. I'm seeing people just making all kind of silly errors, you know, calling for things that came back up, then backing out and not being clear. A lot of that is good intentions, but not handled right. And so I'm committed to that as well. But anyway, we're going to talk about a lot of stuff today. It is Policy Day, always on Thursdays. And among the things we're going to talk about is this SAVE Act. Donald Trump has dug in that they're not signing anything until they pass the SAVE Act. And the SAVE Act is clearly voter ID, which we defeated a few years ago, and they're trying to bring it back now. It disproportionately is biased against black people and people of color, because we're the ones at the low end of the economic ladder. I read out the data to you yesterday about home ownership is going down with blacks in the last 20 years. The margin between unemployment for blacks and whites is almost double. In terms of our wealth gap, it is as wide as it's ever been. So clearly, we don't have a lot. There's a disproportionate amount of us don't have passports. Seniors don't need them. They ain't going nowhere, they say. Many of us don't travel internationally. We don't have passports. Some of us don't drive. All of this is geared up toward trying to solve a problem that has not been discovered to be there. They've not established voter fraud. So why are you going, if you go to a doctor and the doctor says, I think you need surgery, first thing you're going to ask is surgery for what? If there's nothing to perform an operation on me for, why are you cutting me? There is no proven voter fraud. So why are we going through this surgery other than they know that this will disproportionately impact voter turnout in the communities they don't want to vote? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about oil prices are beginning to rise because of the Iran war, and the fact that they can't get down the Straits of Hormuz easily. I'm sorry, Hormuz is what I'm, Hormuz, I'll get it right. Easily, 20% of the oil comes, I'm talking about globally, comes down the strait. And if you can't get 20% of it down the Strait of Hormuz, then how do you fill in those supplies? Well, you don't, so you jack up the price, which is happening now, and it's then transferred to the pump. And when they asked Donald Trump, why are we at war? Well, we've already defeated, but we may need to be longer, but we should be out overnight. 4 or 5 different answers. One thing that is absolutely outrageous to me is that we have seen it already released that the war has caused $11.3 billion with a B as of this morning. So let me get this right. We don't have the money for Affordable Care Act. We don't have the money to deal with affordability in housing. We don't have the money to deal with education programs. We got to tighten our belt on federal employees. But we have $11.3 billion that we've spent in several days to fight a war that we don't understand why we're in the war. And you've already taken out the supreme leader. You've not changed anything because his son now is in charge. This is crazy. Then you got on top of it, Happiness Donuts is right. She's on our message board. $93 billion Pentagon spending spree. Just went crazy, buying all kind of unnecessary stuff. But you don't have money for the citizens. And before you say, well, Mal, that's what it is, they're spending our money. Taxpayer money. So we're going to talk about all of that in our policy day. We also see that the NBC News surveyed voters who say economic and political systems are stacked against them, tied at a record high. This is the first time in an NBC poll that people feel that the entire economic and political system is set against them. And, of course, going back to the war, the FBI has warned that Iran aspires to attack California with drones in retaliation for the war. And, of course, Trump tries to keep this chat attacking Barack Obama. He's just obsessed with Obama and Biden. And just obsessed. He just can't handle it. Well, we have a lot to talk about, and I'm going to give you a chance today to talk about it or go on the message board. I'm here. I'm ready. I'm fired up. Feel energetic today. Some days you feel better than others. When I hit the gym this morning, I go to the gym every morning. I was energetic there. I almost did more than my regular regimen. So I'm ready. Let's have some real talk because we're in real serious trouble. And I think we need to act like that. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Be right back.
National Action Network. Power in action. 35 years of justice, impact, and purpose.
Wow. This is the Saturday after I had done 90 days in federal jail for leading a protest in Vieques, Puerto Rico. And I had went down to join Latino activists that were against the Navy bombings that was exercising Navy bombings that was causing asthma and health effects among the children there. And I was on my way to Saturday rally one Saturday, and I said, if they're going down there protesting that, and there were protesters, they would go out in the Navy base in the field and lay down, and they'd arrest them for being on federal property. And if they were doing that, then I would join them because many of the Latino leaders went to jail with us protesting Amadou Diallo. I ended up having to do 90 days in federal jail. They transferred me from the federal prison in Puerto Rico, me and 3 others that went. They only got 40 days. They said because had a long sheet that they was of many other civil rights arrests. They gave me 90 days. I had to do 50 by myself. When I got out and went to the Saturday rally, Stephanie Mills, who we'd known each other since we were kids, she was there and sang at the rally that Saturday. That's her singing Home, as soon as I get home. One, she knew I loved the song, but 2, it was appropriate because I was coming home. And we won that. They closed the Navy base in Vieques, Puerto Rico. You go there now, there's buildings and condos and a little plaque for the 4 of us. They call the Vieques 4. Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. We are in critical times. Healthcare premiums are going up, oil and gas going up, all kinds of things that are costing us what we are comfortable to or what we were getting by. That's why I am asking you to be at the National Action Network Convention, where we're going to have leading political figures, leading civil rights leaders, leading activists, leading faith leaders, leading youth activists convene at the National Action Network Convention, April the 8th through the 11th, where we are going to strategize, hear the plenary sessions, question, and come out with how we back up this whole retrenchment of our rights and our ability to live. It's not just about rhetoric, it's about a strategy and get results. That's why we in National Action Network have always been on the front line, and we need you with us more now than ever. To register, all of our sessions are free. All of our sessions are free. To register, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net or call the toll-free number 1-877-626-4651. Don't worry about how tough they are. Worry about how tough we must become. We never had a victory without a fight. It's time to strategize and fight back. I remember I was 12 years old. I was a boy preacher in the Church of God in Christ. Bishop Sheard knew my bishop, Bishop Washington. Bishop Washington, my mother was concerned I was getting into politics. They brought us to Reverend William Jones. His daughter's traveling with us. And Reverend Jones introduced me to Jesse Jackson. I became his youth director in New York at 13. I liked Reverend Jackson because he was a little hipper than the older preachers. He was 27, I was 13 by the time I became youth director. So he was like a father figure to me. When I got about 40, he said, quit calling me father, call me big brother. We went to the car center, and James Meeks and Jesse Jr. and I had dinner with him that night. And that's where he said to us, Al, Meeks, Jesse Jr., y'all are my disciples. And we said, disciples? And for years we joked each other. I'd come in the room and Junior said, here's disciple number one. What discipleship meant, you carried forth the vision. The next day, he took me on the ferry to Goree Island, Mrs. Jackson. On Goree Island, he showed me where the slave camps were. And I will never forget, he said, Al, you see what that artifact is? I said, what's that? He said, they call it the door of no return. When you go through that door, you either made it to America to slavery, or you died in the Atlantic. The door of no return. But I talked to him about 3 years ago, and I reminded him, I said, remember when you brought me to the door of no return? He said, yeah. I said, well, we did return. We returned the President of the United States, Barack Obama. We returned the Vice President, Kamala Harris. We returned with businessmen. They thought they sent us as slaves. We came back as global liberators. The problem is that too many of us did not join the movements that sponsored us. And there was a breakout in 2024 called Negro Amnesia, where you forgot where you came from and forgot how you got where you got. Therefore, they're trying to take back everything you had.
It's been a long time coming, but I know.
1968, Dr. Martin King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee, and killed. Let them know they killed the dream.
Because I have a dream today.
They can't kill the dream.
You're live.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Keeping it real. And I am taking your calls at 1-877-3257-97, 1-877-532-5797. It's policy day. Don't forget, I've really taken extra time myself on the phone. I'm getting the right people on Politics Nation with Al Sharpton this weekend, both nights, Saturday and Sunday. You need to watch both Saturday and Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time on MS Now. I really think there has not been enough candor and openness about why we are not seeing the Affordable Care Act being tackled in the Congress, and how they intend to block the SAVE Act when the president says he's not signing anything unless they pass that, which is in effect, in my opinion, tantamount to just destroying the Voting Rights Act. So watch Politics Nation both nights, Saturdays and Sundays. Members of the Senate and the House of Representatives and some leading experts will be on my guests both nights. I'm live. Last weekend I was live from Chicago at the end of our last funeral service of Reverend Jesse Jackson. I had a truck. I did the show from the side in the truck in Chicago. Then the truck at the end of the Edmund Pettus Bridge, I did Sunday, but I'll be in studio this Saturday and Sunday. But I have these guests that you really going to want to hear from, need to hear from. And I will therefore, as you know, if I'm in the studio Saturday and Sunday, I'm definitely at the Harlem Saturday Action Rally in Harlem. I don't think I missed one in months. I only missed maybe one or two a year. I had to miss it, Reverend Jackson's funeral and final services at Rainbow Push. But I'll be there this Saturday. I want to deal with Women's History Month, but I also want to deal with all of this confusion going on and how we need to stay focused and deal with the DEI. They're out marching again today, as we have for weeks, over 100 days. We got to stay focused. And people do not, as far as I'm concerned, deal with projects. We like to deal with mess. I woke up this morning at 4 o'clock. I get up about 4 and go to the gym at 5, and all kind of mess. And a lot of stuff, people shouldn't start stuff they don't know how to finish, but we shouldn't play into it. We shouldn't give oxygen to it. All right, so make sure you meet me at the rally Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. at the Mother AME Zion Church, historic church of Frederick Douglass. Sojourner Truth changed her name at the altar of that church. So many others. C.J. Walker's funeral there. We're doing it there temporarily until we move into National Action Network's new headquarters, which should be just a couple of weeks away. and the National Action Network convention. You must pre-register. I know they're telling me we're over the limit, but I've made other arrangements, larger ballrooms. I want you to pre-register, and before I close it down, finally. So it's free. All the sessions are free. April the 8th through the 11th, Sheraton, New York, Times Square. Call or go online and register now if you have not registered. Or go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or call the toll-free number at 1-877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651. And I'm looking at a lot of message boards. Happiness Donuts is saying it's 236 days until the midterm elections. And I think that we need to have a countdown. We've got things we're going to raise and in the convention. We had to have a countdown. And we need to do exactly what you're doing, Happiness Donuts. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. All right, let's go to the phones. Dantes in Cleveland, Ohio, WERE. You're keeping it real with Al Sharpton. Yes.
Hey, Sharp. This
Hi.
is Dantes Taylor. I'm in the National Action Network in Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, great.
With Marcia McCoy, and I'm running for Precinct 2K in Cleveland, Ohio, and I'm ready to move this in a new direction, and I am their write-in candidate for that precinct, and I'm ready to move it in a new direction that it needs to be in, and everything else. We're going to make that precinct the best precinct out here in Cleveland, because I'm trying to bring gardens to the ward, to that precinct and everything else, and do a cleanup month where we clean up the ward, we clean up that precinct and everything else that we do out here in our precinct. And I am Dantes Taylor, and I'm your write-in candidate for 2K in
All
Cleveland,
right.
Ohio.
Glad that you called in. Glad that you're a member of the National Action Network. I think that's a good thing. I see that we had on the message board, I'm trying to, there's so many coming in, they just boom, boom, boom. But I saw somebody said, good morning from England. And they're listening to us in England. I know we always hear from Germany. And somebody from says, good afternoon, Willie Franklin. It moved as soon as I said it. Okay, 513 Cincinnati. Okay, Cincinnati, Ohio. And there it is, Soak Bathrooms, DWS, hi from England, UK. Keep it moving, sir. Well, I will. And, I come to the UK once a year, meeting with activists in Brixton. We have a long relationship, and then I usually speak at Oxford and Cambridge to the students, but I also go to Brixton to talk in the community. Sir Simon Woolley, who started there as an activist, brought me over 1991, 35 years ago, to lead marches against the killing of Roland Adams, who's a young man killed by a racist mob. His aunt now is a member of the House of Lords. They never stopped that movement. But Sir Simon Woolley will be at National Action Network's convention, heading our international panel, where we'll have leaders from Africa and Europe, black members of some of the European countries, talking about global racism. We get so caught up sometimes in our local and domestic stuff that we're not looking at what they're doing, the same forces globally. We have a workshop on that at the convention this year. Oh, you don't want to miss this one. We got everything covered. All right, let's take a break. We're coming right back to you on the phones and you that are on the message board. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can go on the board at nationalactionnetwork.net and then go to our message board. And I think it is important that we stay in touch and do what is right for everybody. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. Just wait. I believe that.
Good morning, everybody. I hope the coffee has kicked in by now. I want to start by thanking your leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton, and everyone at the National Action Network for 35 years of standing up for civil rights and opportunity for everyone.
And I couldn't be more grateful for the way that you have blessed the lives of so many, including mine.
As we look today on King Day, let us not forget that we had to struggle to even have this day. They did not wake up one morning and say, let's give a federal holiday to Martin Luther King. People petitioned, people marched. Let us remember now as we bring our children and grandchildren up the Potomac that they can see the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, the Jefferson Memorial, and one memorial that never served as president but changed this country more than any other American, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
This was an amazing MLK breakfast.
It is truly an honor, and more importantly, this is an important day for us.
I feel incredibly lucky and honored to be in this room on this day, celebrating Dr. King's legacy of civil rights, especially in the moment that we're facing on a national level. It feels like warmth and home being in this room.
So I'm encouraged by today. I'm encouraged that we're getting out, we're protesting, but more needs to be done. We need to lean in.
And let's keep fighting because the job is not done here. And I just feel so honored to get this award. It's not about getting an award, it's about doing the work. And let's keep up with the work.
He said we always go one step forward and two backward. Well, here we are now. The problem is not Trump. The problem is us. We are allowing ourselves to be lowered and our children to feel inferior because you don't have an I am somebody person. You got our artists calling our women bees. Our others calling us niggas. What happened to us? What happened to black and proud? What happened? I'm gonna vote. What happened? Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. What happened to us? Well, Reverend, it looks bad now. Look at Iran. Look at what's going on in Minnesota. Look on. Yeah, but I was raised by them to realize that after storms, if we do the right thing in the storm, if we organize, if we register, if we do what we're supposed to do, there's always a rainbow coming out. The rainbow don't show until the storm is over. The rainbow gonna come out in November. The rainbow gonna come out in 28. We gonna fix these tricks in 26 and march through the gates in 28. We didn't come this far to turn around now. We won't go back.
We won't go back. We won't go back.
You're live.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. Let's go right back to the phone. Let's go to Ronnie in Atlanta, Georgia, WAOK. Ronnie?
Good evening, Ralph. Good evening, Ralph.
Good evening. How you doing?
I'm doing good. It just amazes me how he could run on America first, and everything that he's doing is against America. You take the lives that he is causing in America, and you take the jobs that he's cut, all them federal jobs, but yet and still, just like you said, they can spend millions, and it's going to end up being billions of dollars on a war, but yet and still they fire American people.
Right.
And it just amazes me how people still support him, knowing, you know, the lies that he tells. One example is that he said that Iran bombed their own people, and he knew blatantly that that was a lie.
Right.
And then he was saying that the war is over, you know, and it just amazes me, Rev. Do you think that? Oh yeah, and they said that you can no longer use the word mass deportation. Have you heard that, Rev?
Yes, I've heard it. I don't know what that means. I just heard it.
Well, what it is they are ashamed of the process that they was calling mass deportation, because it wasn't mass deportation; it was mass elimination.
Right.
And so they are, they are ashamed of it,
Right.
because they know that it wasn't about mass deportation. Because if you want to do mass deportation, you don't go to Home Depot and Lowe's to do mass deportation. Go to these people's fields and these farmers. And now they are feeling the effect of it. And that's what the Democrats, they should hammer down on that, because see, they've thrown in the towel on it. But Democrats, the ones that are running, there is your leverage right there. Don't forget, whenever you go in front of the public to talk about anything, bring up mass deportation and the failure of it, because it was just a failure. And that's why he's kicking the reporters, the true reporters, like Don Lemon, the true reporters, not entertainers, but true reporters. That's why he kicked them out of the White House, because they was exposing his failures,
right,
and they was exposing his life, and so that's why whenever you are exposing his wrong, because he's the guy that said that he never done anything wrong. But Reb, I want to tell you, you keep up the good work that you are doing. There are not many like you, because we have a younger generation coming up now. They're falling for the okie doke. They don't know the suffer that I'm 65, so I wasn't quite there, but I am there with you all, and they don't know the struggle. You got people out here now, young black people that want to down Martin Luther King and say stuff that they don't even know about.
Right.
And if it wasn't for people like you and him, they wouldn't be able to sit up and criticize people.
Right.
And they don't criticize the right people. They want to criticize people that people has taught them, and they have been, kind of, I want to say, brainwashed into criticizing. But you keep marching forward, Reb, and you keep up the good work.
I appreciate it.
Blessings and love to you.
Love to you, too. I see Happiness Donuts says Bernard Lafayette. Bernard Lafayette, she says, thank you. Bernard Lafayette passed last week. I believe his funeral is next week. I've been in touch with the family. He was the one Dr. King sent to Selma to really organize the Selma movement that led to the Voting Rights Act. And certainly my heart goes out to the family. He passed at 85 years old. Dwight Smiley says, why did Jamal Bryant call off the boycott, a Target boycott? I hope he didn't take money from them to put back in the community. If so, what community? Well, I mean, the Armstrong, Sister Nikia Armstrong, and others started the Target boycott in Minneapolis right after George Floyd. Target's headquartered there. They also continued all the way through saying Target should not have let the illegal search and all by ICE for to deport people in their stores. Nakima, I believe it, Levy Armstrong was on Let It Be Known Black Press. I'm reading Stephanie Humphrey USA, this morning talking about the Target boycott. It was good. As far as her and her team in Minneapolis, is the boycott still on? And as long as it's on with them, it's on with me. I don't know. I've not heard from Reverend Brian. I don't know what he announced yesterday. I know that as long as Nakeem and them are there, I'm supporting that. And I believe in boycotts. You ought to have defined public commitments and make them stand there and say it. I've never done it any other way. I've never seen Reverend Jackson or Dr. King, anybody do it any other way. So I don't know what was done. I know who called it, and as long as Nakeem and them are there, that's the support National Action Network is given. I'm not against anybody, but if I support a boycott, I support until I know what that company or that entity is doing, not guessing. I don't want to hear that we had a nice conversation. So that's the end of that. I'm not addressing that. People called me this morning. What do you think? No, I'm not getting into the gossip. That's my position. as well as somebody called and asked me about some reports, and I explained it yesterday, that was distorted around Jesse Jr. That I don't deal in gossip radio, but I can straighten that out. I'm supporting Sister Nakima Levy Armstrong. National Action Network took that position when they started this right after George Floyd, and I've not heard any concrete thing as to why we should take a different position. Let's go to the phone. Let me go to Disco Brian Disco Brian in Philadelphia, WURD.
Hello, Rev. Thank you for taking my call. Thank you for the sacred show once again. And thank you for being the boldest person of your caliber, willing to take anybody's call who is willing to call you. Again, that is just tragically rare in all the media content creators that have major platforms. Rev, my question is, do you have access to the chairman of the Democratic National Committee, Ken Martin, and Chuck Schumer, the Democratic leader of the Senate? You have their numbers, right?
Yeah.
Is there a way, Rev, that you could ask them what the basic constraints for the Democratic Party, for candidates who want to run as Democrats are? I'm asking this, Rev, because this candidate endorsed by Bernie Sanders in Maine running as a Democrat for the Senate seems to violate every constraint that I thought were just common sense for the Democratic Party. This man, Rev, I don't know how much vetting or how much time you've had to look into this man. But, you know, I saw him yesterday, or no, I guess it was a couple weeks ago that he was interviewed by one of these white men at the Pod Save America franchise, and the guy was going through the controversies around him and his record, and he talked about how this guy, this former mercenary who worked for Blackwater, this guy Graham Plattner running as a Democrat in Maine, was talking about how he had posted some stuff online about asking on Reddit or one of the social media websites. He was asking about, do black people just not know how to tip? Because he worked as a bartender in New York and was asking people just out there, anybody who could answer, if it's just culturally something black people don't know how to do. And the Pod Save America host just failed to acknowledge what was happening, or the Pod Save America host is just a racist, just like him, because Graham Plattner said, "Hey, I didn't know. I'm from Maine, and I've never been, before this, I had never been a bartender in New York, and I had just found that no black people are tipping me." And Rev, I don't
understand your question. Whether they have a way, what did they have to do with what a candidate said? I'm confused, Brian.
Rev, my question is, shouldn't the Democratic Party shouldn't we have some standards? And or is this party just an open door to people who got Nazi tattoos and posted racist?
Yeah, but no. I think we got to be fair. They cannot control who decides to run, and they get petitions and put themselves on the ballot. Because then you're saying that they're going to have a party where they decide the candidates. The idea of having primaries is for people to decide that. Now, I think what you're saying is absolutely correct. The guy seems to me to be despicable, and we should go against it. But we need to make that argument to the people. We can't ask Chuck Schumer and them to do that, because then we're saying you select the candidates, and then we'll be saying that's party bossism.
Rev, thank you. That you're absolutely right.
All
You're
right.
absolutely right.
Thank you. Your point is right, though. This guy should not be running, but we got to vote him down. Thank you for your call. Let's take a break. Be right back. Keeping it real. 1-877-532-5797. Be right back. Keeping it real.
It's been a long time coming, but I know
1968, Dr. Martin King was killed in Memphis, Tennessee. And it has been the commitment of National Action Network to always, in the month he was killed, to let them know they killed the dreamer.
I have a dream today.
They can't kill the dreamer. I remember I was 12 years old. I was a boy preacher in the Church of God in Christ. Bishop Shear knew my bishop, Bishop Washington. Bishop Washington, my mother was concerned I was getting into politics. They brought us to Reverend William Jones. His daughter's traveling with us. And Reverend Jones introduced me to Jesse Jackson. I became his youth director in New York at 13. I liked Reverend Jackson because he was a little hipper than the older preachers. He was 27, I was 13 by the time I became youth director. So he was like a father figure to me. When I got about 40, he said, quit calling me father, call me big brother. We went to the Car Center, and James Meeks and Jesse Jr. and I had dinner with him that night. And that's where he said to Al, Meeks, Jesse Jr., y'all are my disciples. And we said disciples. And for years we joked each other. I'd come in the room and Junior said, here's disciple number one. But discipleship meant you carried forth the vision. The next day, he took me on the ferry to Goree Island, Mrs. Jackson. On Goree Island, he showed me where the slave camps were. And I will never forget, he said, Al, you see what that artifact is? I said, what's that? He said, they call it the door of no return. When you go through that door, you either made it to America to slavery,
or you died in the Atlantic. The door of no return. But I talked to him about 3 years ago, and I reminded him, I said, remember when you brought me to the door of no return? He said, yeah. I said, well, we did return. We returned the President of the United States, Barack Obama. We returned the Vice President, Kamala Harris. We returned with businessmen. They thought they sent us as slaves. We came back as global liberators. The problem is that too many of us did not join the movements that sponsored us. And there was a breakout in 2024 called Negro Amnesia, where you forgot where you came from and forgot how you got where you got. Therefore, they're trying to take back everything you had. Thank God I was blessed to have both in my life. Both historic, strong figures. But if I misused them and listened to not only figures that are not as historic as them, but figures that had nothing to do with the calling and purpose of my life, I would live confused. I'd be double-minded. I'm clear. And what I want you to do is be clear. Clear on who you are and why you are. And a lot of that will be exposed to you and others by who you are around and who you allow to enter your head. Keep people at a distance that only have a distant and unclear vision of who you are and who you are supposed to be. They could be your blood relatives, but they could not be the ones that accompany you toward what you ought to be about tonight. Everybody good to you ain't good for you. Everybody that makes you laugh sometimes end up making you a joke.
Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton time. It's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. You need to keep it real with Reverend Al Sharpton right here on Uber TV. Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is. You know, every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people. Hear from them, to call in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Sharpton.
Happy 20th anniversary to Reverend Al Sharpton on 20 years of Keeping It Real. 2 decades of truth-telling, fearless advocacy, and keeping the people informed and empowered. Thank you for always speaking power to justice and standing firm for what's right. Here's to 20 years of impact and many more to come.
Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. We are in critical times. Healthcare premiums are going up, oil and gas going up, all kinds of things that are costing us what we are comfortable to or what we were getting by. That's why I am asking you to be at the National Action Network Convention, where we're going to have leading political figures, leading civil rights leaders, leading activists, leading faith leaders, leading youth activists convene at the National Action Network Convention, April the 8th through the 11th, where we are going to strategize, hear the plenary sessions, question, and come out with how we back up this whole retrenchment of our rights and our ability to live. It's not just about rhetoric, it's about a strategy and get results. That's why we in National Action Network have always been on the front line, and we need you with us more now than ever. To register, all of our sessions are free. All of our sessions are free. To register, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.org.
Al Sharpton.
You're live. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. It is policy day. Thursday is policy day on the Keeping It Real show, as well as we are dealing with Women's History Month. And I think a lot of us need to continue to extol our great women in history. Let's go to Olivia in Georgia, WAOK. Olivia.
Hello, grace and peace. Can you hear me?
I'm hearing you well.
Fantastic, because it was coming in low before. Well, good afternoon, Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. Thank you just for being who you are. You're always in my prayers and my thoughts. I look so forward to seeing you next month. And this time I'm going to make my way I'm going to beat my way through the crowd to get a photo with you.
All right.
Because I missed it the last time Reverend Jackson was there. I think he went up to his room early.
Oh, okay.
Service. But anyway, okay, get it together. All right. So, first of all, again, thank you, the Nan family, Huddle, the youth. What about our youth are doing? Pull up the Huddle meeting on Monday night.
Wow.
Okay, and share it. All right.
You all the way in it. You all the way with us.
Just a few
you
things. I had to write it down because I have too much. I'll be bringing it in writing to the conference. Also love the chat family. I want to call her Mother Eunice, but Miss Eunice, Lola, Rodney, Pam, Trisha, Tanya, Bruce, give me life. When I can't get through and I can't get to my blood pressure pill, they hold it down on the chat and on the call in. So thank God for that. Now, as far as our information goes, we are Democrats and we are the messenger. The Republicans own mainstream media. Let's get it together.
Right.
Okay, we all have platforms. Use them. First, research and verify. Don't share conspiracies and everything. Just like the question about the whole Target boycott, it's all available. That could have been looked up before the call was made. We need to utilize this platform to the optimum.
Mm-hmm.
All right, before I called you, I called and left a message for Speaker Hakeem Jeffries to give him my support, and I said these things. We need to simplify the message, Congressman, where the people can reach it. The bottom line, as far as the SAVE Act goes, the 34-count convicted felon is withholding his signature because he wants he's withholding the payment for TSA agents, but because he wants ICE to have more money. And so these people are going without pay. 305 of them have quit as of yesterday. I don't know what the number is today. So that's why the airports are blocked up during spring break. People have to understand how politics impact them.
Right.
Okay? So you want people to starve so y'all can run around eating Alaskan king crab legs and spilling billions on nonsense. So we need to just put it to the people where they can reach it, Rev. Make them understand this is how it affects you. The SAVE Act, driver's license, in order to get a driver's license, you have to produce birth certificate, all that information. In order to get a passport, you have to produce your driver's license, your birth certificate as such. The government has no business with our personal information. They preach states' rights when they want it. But a first-time voter is not going to know what I'm talking about when I'm saying states' rights unless they know their civic history. Let's get to civics. Impeachment, impeachment, impeachment is all we hear. We need to give, you want the Democrats to do more? We need to give them the power to do more. We need a supermajority in that Senate. Can we get it done?
Right.
He's been impeached twice already. And the reason why he's still there is because he was never convicted. Was that Garland's fault? Absolutely not. They blocked Garland's the Supreme Court Department, and then they blocked him from being AG all the way until March 10th of 2021. Verify the facts. You don't have to go by me. It's available. The Biden administration, under constant fire, did miraculous work pulling us out of COVID and a downtrodden economy. They did not even give them the 3 months transition. They came out the gate swinging, and in 9 months, they had exceeded everything that the Republicans had done in their administration. But all we do is use our platforms and get on and bash.
Right.
That's all. That's all we do. We need to stop it. That's why we're losing. Okay? And so, impeachment, driver's license, they need a 2/3. I know Attorney Jennifer Jones-Austin will be on, so just ask her to verify what I'm saying and explain it better than I can. We need a 2/3 majority in the Senate to get a conviction to impeach those corrupt Supreme Court justices.
Yeah.
Our Constitution wasn't set up for corruption on all three branches of government simultaneously. I mean, come on. The judicial branch is corrupt too? So let's give credit to the people that are doing the work. Call them up and give them some encouragement. And if you need the number, it is 202-224-3121. That is the switchboard. Just ask for your representative. And you should know your representative as well. Last thing I'm going to say, Reverend Sharpton, because this is really bothering me. The case in Georgia with D.A. Farney Willis.
Yeah.
We left our sister out there.
Yeah.
We left her out there because Ashley Merchant and her husband worked together to defend Trump and his criminal cohorts. Well, a convicted felon, I don't use that name. Am I right? They worked together on the case. What D.A. Willis was doing during COVID while she was being threatened by her life or whatever, that's her own personal and private business. And don't get holy on me because, honey, I know what people do even in the church.
And they grown and made their own decisions. Has nothing to do with anything. Break no law, nothing.
Kick back
Yep.
from the beginning.
Yep.
That was a setup. That's that Crone guy.
Yep.
Yes. And I know I'm going on and on. That's why I'm going to write it down, and I'm going to hand my written statements to people at the conference.
I enjoy it, and I'm looking forward to the conference, and make sure you come on and get that photo with me and tell me I'm Olivia, and I'll be glad to see you and take that photo with you. Thank you for your call. And she's absolutely right. I think that the fact Fannie Willis, many of our, particularly black women prosecutors, happened in Baltimore. We leave them out there. And that's what I was saying about those that Sister Armstrong and them started this target boycott in Minneapolis. I don't know what was decided. It's not been explained. But I know I'm not going to leave them out there. If they were not consulted, I'm not going to be part of that. Because as I fight situations, we fight cases, we fight municipalities, we fight companies all the time. We're going to have a whole thing at the convention about where we buying stock and who we going after. I would expect if people come in and behind whatever we call, they would at least converse with me because we were out there. So since they have not felt the I'm not selling. I'm not talking to nobody. I'm not against nobody. But I don't believe that we can be disunited and get anywhere. And we certainly ought not respect our women. This woman, Armstrong, stood up for Don Lemon and them, got arrested at the church. She's facing federal charges. She's the real deal. So I'm going to see what she done with ISIS. Know that she started, I was there, this whole thing in Minneapolis around Target when we were there about George Floyd, going on 6 years ago. I'm not abandoning that. And it's the easiest thing in the world to do is say, well, I'm close with so-and-so. You got to stand up for what's right. Right is right. And I think, again, I don't know. I'm not casting aspersions on nobody. I don't know what the deal was. I know that if the ones that started this say they're still boycotting, National Action Network still boycotting. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real, 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back.
Thing past hope, because, I grew up, like I said, single mama on welfare, and my mother told me there's a part in life that hope's gonna run out. But she told me you got a double barrel in your engine. I said, what is that? She said, you can switch from hope to faith. Faith is a little deeper than hope. Bishop Hilliard is here. Faith is when hope runs out. Faith is the substance of things. Hope for the evidence of things not seen. Faith is when we were emancipated after 246 years of slavery and walked off the plantations with no education, no money, no future. And we built black churches and black colleges and black fraternities. We had faith. Faith made us stand up to the most powerful nation in the world and turn it around. Faith means we went from the back of the bus to the front of the White House. We come this far by faith, leaning on the Lord, trusting in His holy word. He never failed us yet.
Tony Wafer, Los Angeles chapter, National Action Network. He just came in here to New York a couple days ago, had to stop by the House of Justice, and I sure enough found some justice, so I know I can leave here feeling like I got peace.
Voting rights.
Everyone look here.
Say it again, Ms. Pearl.
Voting rights.
Voting rights. One more time, Ms. Pearl.
Voting rights.
There we go.
Voting rights. Voting rights.
Voting rights.
Voting rights.
Voting rights.
When do we want it?
Now.
When do we need it?
Now. Yesterday.
What do we want?
Voting rights.
When do we need it?
Now.
What do we want?
Voting rights.
When do we need it?
Now.
Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive on tomorrow night and beyond. Young America, hold your head high now. We can win. You must never stop dreaming. Face reality, yes. But don't stop with the way things are. Dream of things as they ought to be. Dream. Face pain. But love, hope, faith, and dreams will help you rise above the pain. Use hope and imagination as weapons of survival and progress, but you keep on dreaming, young America. Dream of peace. Peace is rational and reasonable. War is irrational in this age and unwinnable. Dream of teachers who teach for life and not for living. Dream of doctors who are concerned more about public health than private wealth. Dream of lawyers more concerned about justice and the judgeship. Dream of preachers who are concerned more about prophecy than profiteering. Dream on the high road with sound values. You must never surrender to inequality.
Some of you forget where you come from and forget how you got there. And act like you got there because you were qualified or that you had a good resume. But some of us had to pay a price for your resume to even be read. Some of us had to take nights in jails and licks upside the head or shut out of boardrooms like Byron so you could walk down red carpets and act like you got there by yourself. So I received this award with a special place in my heart and on my shelf because I'm getting it from a freedom fighter who never forgot where he came from and how he got there. Yes, we've come a long way. We've had now a black president and now a black vice president, but we still can get shot down and have to march to get a case in court. We still can get shut out of boardrooms. We're still doubly unemployed in a good economy. So we're gonna have to keep marching. And I thank not only my family, a mother that raised me by herself, but I thank that lady at the end of the march that knows she won't be on TV that night and knows her name will never be in the paper, but she believed in me enough to get at the end of the line and make me look good. Because Dr. King used to say, if you call a march and no one shows up, you just going for a walk. And I want to thank those that marched with me. 32 years ago, here in Los Angeles, we marched. And then many years later, with George Floyd and others, we're still marching. And I'm gonna keep marching, I'm gonna keep agitating, and I'm gonna keep going. Until we don't have to do it anymore. Eddie, known you a long time, Mariah, Chris, and your kids. And I promise you this, the only thing that I really live for is I get up with this dream that every bigot, every racist, everyone in this country that hates will say, damn, he's up again.
No justice! No justice! 62 years ago today, Martin marched in Washington. 62 years later, the dream is not dead.
I'm here because I must be here. Democracy is not there for the pig, and you have to fight for democracy. That's what it is. What Trump will erase, we will replace.
It's the dreamers in many cases have reversed and tried to turn it into a nightmare. We come to Wall Street rather than Washington this year to let them know you can try to turn back the clock, but you can't turn back time. We gonna keep the dream alive on Wall Street.
Many people cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling and life purpose. In order to focus, you must also be clear on what you're focusing on. So if you're not clear on your purpose, if you're not clear on your life's calling, then focus on seeking that. Because if you just read the ways and roads you traveled that you didn't even choose, that were sort of just laid out for you by God, in that it's telling you, speaking to you about what your purpose is and what you were born to do and be. I learned the things that I didn't plan had to be planned by God, and God's plan was directed toward God's purpose in my life. And I focus on that. Not focus on what others do, not focus on how well they're doing or bad they're doing, but focus on whether I'm in line and aligned with what I'm supposed to be about. And in order to move straight ahead, you have to be focused on the path you're running on.
You're live.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. And we're back. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go to Don in New Orleans, Louisiana. Don.
Reverend Al.
Yeah.
How you doing today? Great to see you. I know you've been traveling a lot as usual, but I wanted to say this, if I may, 2 minutes.
We have Jennifer Jones.
I'm going to allow myself to say what I have to say about Norman Christopher Francis, President Emeritus of Xavier University in New Orleans, Alpha man, Alpha Phi Alpha, the oldest and the coldest, they like to call themselves, passed away at 94 years young after 47 years as president of Xavier University. 47 and 47 is 94. He lived to be 94. He is the Alpha man. And the same week as we recognize the death of Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson Sr., an Omega man, Omega Psi Phi, to the day he died. And so we have the Alpha and the Omega. And the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. And so these brothers, these men of great honor, great expectation of their people. What people? All people. And so the Dr. Francis at Xavier University, which was founded by a very prominent, if you will, American, St. Catherine Drexel, if you will, of the Drexel family, D-R-E-X-E-L, the same Drexel family in Philadelphia, where we'll be celebrating, commemorating the 250th year of the United States of America, which served as the first country center before Washington, D.C., and her family's from the Philadelphia area. She's the Drexel Burnham Investment House, Drexel University, which was her uncle, Anthony Drexel, founded Drexel University. Very prominent family. She took a vow of poverty. In this time of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion ridicule, Catherine Drexel took a vow of poverty, a monetary, material poverty, not spiritual poverty, but she enriched herself spiritually and others, and founded Xavier University for Black, African Americans, and indigenous people. Okay? And so they gave it to the steward, Norman Christopher Francis, who Esquire. He was a lay president. He wasn't of the clergy. He was of the laity. And he became the first lay president of a Catholic or religious university in America, in the world. And so, having said that, he took stewardship with his J.D. Juris Doctorate, a doctorate of law, not a doctorate of philosophy, which is a Ph.D., or a M.D., a medical doctorate, but on the same level, a doctor of law. And he took that J.D. and he took students from low to moderate socio-economic backgrounds and lifted them up. Xavier University in New Orleans produced more black medical students and doctors than any other university in the world, including Harvard and Princeton. Yeah, not a knock on those institutions. But my point is that when Jesus chose his disciples, he didn't go to the temple. He didn't go to seminary. As Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson went on about his mission, he didn't finish seminary. He went about the work. And so it brings great joy to me to know that these brothers walk the same earth that I do.
Right.
And I want to say this about the SAVE Act. The SAVE Act says home ownership. You know, many of our suffering is through lack of knowledge. Our people suffer from a lack of knowledge. And that's the advocates. Dr. Norman C. Francis or Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson would not let our people suffer needlessly from a lack of knowledge. And so when you say the SAVE Act, home ownership, many on Section 8 housing vouchers qualify for mortgages, especially first-time home buyers. The Community Reinvestment Act under Jimmy Carter, President Jimmy Carter, and many of these programs are being held back. You know, when we talk about credit worthiness, you know, when you pay a cell phone bill, you pay your light bill every month. I don't care, irrespective of whether you are a renter, especially if you're a renter. When you pay these monthly bills, those and homeownership is about credit worthiness, credit scores. And I want to thank the Pritzker family, the governor of Illinois, who family owned TransUnion Credit Report, one of the big three credit reporting agencies. But nevertheless, I close. The credit worthiness is based on your fundingness of paying your bills on time and consistently. So when you pay your utility bills and your cell phone, landlines, whatever bills you pay monthly consistently, those things should go towards your credit worthiness, but they are not, because many landlords don't report your rent payment, whether it's Section 8. Section 8 is automatic, but when you're paying rent every month, those things show that you are credit worthy. It should build your credit score, which should put you in prime real estate. And thank God for brothers in New Orleans like Brother Fred Johnson, who take people from renters to homeowners. And one good thing about New York, you can own your apartment in many cases. And so, Reverend Al, the SAVE Act and the homeownership and the wealth gap is because of lack of knowledge. Many of these people who are paying their bills and for years, decades, qualify, and their credit worthiness should be recognized, but they're not being reported to the big three: Experian, TransUnion, Equifax. These big credit reporters, FICO, the Fair Isaac Credit Organization, which is a for-profit organization. So we have to have, when we have our representatives, don't sit there arguing with Trump about the SAVE Act. Get busy, as Dr. Francis and Reverend Jackson did, educating the people and connecting knowledge, so we won't let the knowledge of taking the appropriate action. And one quick thing, when we talk about the voting, they talk, the coach of Golden State said, well, the NBA season should be cut down from 10 games to 72. All right? We don't complain about 82 NBA seasons too long. We don't complain about the 162 games in Major League Baseball. We don't complain about, we look forward. The NFL season never over with. We're in the free agent right now. They got the 17, they added a 17th game. Let's not get lackadaisical when it comes time to voting, especially in our own self-interest.
All right. Thank you for your call. We're joined now, as we are every Thursday for Policy Day, the CEO of the Protestant Welfare Agencies in New York and the Vice Chairman of the National Board of National Action Network, Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin. How you doing, Jenny?
I'm doing well, sir. Good to be with you all.
Good to be with you. We're going to run up on a break, but I want you to muse on this over the break, that I'm concerned about how we're looking at the national government's outlay of money. We have fired, terminated any number, thousands of government workers, federal government workers with DOGE. We have cut back in many social area programs, including in the educational front, saying that we needed to get more fiscally responsible. We've seen that they have not renewed the Affordable Care Act, which is costing Americans higher premiums. Yet we have spent, as of this morning, $11.3 billion in this war in Iran. And we saw Secretary of Defense, he calls it War Hegseth, spending millions of dollars on redecorating and doing things at the Pentagon. Let's talk about the financial decisions, the fiscal decisions and fiscal policy this administration has shown as its priorities. Let's take our break. We'll be right back and start right there. Keeping it real. 1-877-532-5797. Sharpton. Keeping it real. Be right back. Hi, it's Reverend Al Sharpton, President and founder of National Action Network. We are at the very end of 2025, and I want to first say that I want to thank all of the officers, chapter leaders, regional directors, national staff, and certainly National Board of National Action Network for a solid and absolutely incredible year in 2025. Despite the fact that we are under assault, voting rights, diversity, equity, and inclusion, the battles globally where we're seeing Nigeria and Venezuela attacked, and on and on and on. We have been steadfast as an activist organization in the tradition of Dr. King. We started the year with a national call that thousands responded to, and we were in Washington on our side of town while Trump was being inaugurated on the other side of town. And we made a pledge. We told people to lift their hand and make the pledge. And we kept that pledge to work all year to keep the dream alive. And that led into when Trump went after DEI. We supported some that were boycotting, and we started boycotting, something that had never happened. We said we're going to go buy from those that have committed to keep DEI, and went in several
cities around Costco's and Sharpton. We've now bought stock in other companies. We're going to shareholder meeting and demand they continue DEI. We've had a sensational national action network convention covering the span of activity, from political empowerment to education, to how we deal with the black church, how we deal with black women development that has to deal with both discrimination based on gender and race. And of course, we came to Wall Street by the thousands and marched in late summer on the anniversary of the March on Washington. And people thought you could not get people out, and they came from all over the country. And we marched on Wall Street and had an enormous turnout. The only mass black march, black-led march this year. We had a lot of protests, a lot of marches. I salute all No Kings marches and all. But the black organization march, it welcomed everybody. We had white, black, everybody there. Was our march on Wall Street in August. And then our Triumph Award and on into our fall agenda of organizing, mobilizing. We've expanded. We've started chapters in about 12 new cities. So I am proud of what we've done this year, but it's only the beginning, because our very rights are under attack, and they're not even being quiet about it. They want to revoke the Voting Rights Act. Section 2 may fall with this Supreme Court. They want to end the Civil Rights Act of 64. That's what the end of DEI is about. So let us be more alert and active than ever. History will decide whether the civil rights gains of the 50s and 60s died in the 2020s. That's on your watch and mine. So if we've got to march, we have to protest, we have to lobby, and we have to rally, whatever we need to do, we need to put our shoulder to the wheel more than ever. I'm going to lay out a plan on King Day, both in Harlem at our annual event and in Washington at our annual Martin Luther King Day breakfast that we do in D.C. We do 2 cities that day. And then, of course, all roads lead to New York, April for our convention. We had, as I said, the largest attended convention last year in 2025. It needs to be more this year because our very existence is at stake. We also are closing our negotiations on a new headquarters, our national headquarters that befit our mission. I'm so excited about it, but I can't give you details. We're just about ready to sign the contract, but it will be something that will last longer than many of our lifetimes. So we came alive in 25, despite a hostile administration, despite the fact that a lot of people were intimidated and spooked in the silence. We came alive in 25. Now we have to straighten out tricks in 26. I need you. We need each other. Let's do this. All these tricks, don't forget, Trump only won by 1.5%. He is trying to act like he has a mandate. No, he has a mission, Project 2025. We have the mandate that we can't let them undo what has been done. And further, Happy New Year.
You're live.
Keeping it real. And keeping it real. Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. And we are back 1-877-532-5797. And Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is our co-host. I might add that they are now investigating. There was a shooting at a synagogue in Michigan, and the suspect is dead. Their synagogue is hurt.
and they're looking into his motor. Apparently, he drove a truck into it. They do not know yet whether there's any others associated with it. Akeem Smith says on social media, on our on our page, that Reverend Sharpton, should we be on high alert now because of what just happened in Michigan right now? I think we all ought to be on some alert. I don't know, high alert. And some are speculating, does this have anything to do with Iran? I think it's irresponsible to speculate, but we do know there was an attack that no kids or staff in the Michigan synagogue appear hurt as of the last report. But again, we're living in times, Attorney Jones Austin, where we are seeing these things happen to the point where it's almost normalized, which is scary within itself. I don't hear her.
I'm right here with you, sir. Can you hear me?
I hear you now, yes.
Oh, okay, I'm not sure what happened. The difficult thing, especially when we think about this war that we now find ourselves in, this illegal war, is that it's not, it's never just about oil. It's never, I mean, this is about oil, but it's not just about oil. It's never just about missiles and nuclear war. This is just, when you just think about the people who are fighting and who they're fighting, this becomes a religious war. And when you have Israel, attacking people, people who are here in the United States who worry about the growing spread of anti-Semitism, you may see things like this, more and more like this. And sadly, there's no place in America, there's no place in the world right now that is not at risk. One of the things that people will do with sleeper cells and bombs and now drones is target places that are the least suspecting, and sometimes targeting places where they don't have the systems and the structures in place. Someone said to me recently, well, you must be very anxious about living in New York City. And my response was, I may be less anxious in New York City because we've experienced terrorism, domestic and from elsewhere. And, we have now an NYPD with the resources. Not saying that makes us foolproof and 100% safe, but when Trump does things like this, he escalates the tensions. And Netanyahu escalates the tensions. So we don't know what's going to happen anywhere in the country now. And I might add, you asked me before the break just to reflect on what this means economically. We have already had people across America who've been saying that they cannot afford to live in this country, that they can't pay their bills, they can't save and plan and get ahead, that they're one paycheck, one layoff away from being unhoused. We were already dealing with that. Then Trump came in and passed the big ugly bill and got rid of, for many people, SNAP benefits, or if not getting rid of them, reduced them significantly for those who got to hold on to some. Got rid of Medicaid for many people, raised the eligibility changes on that, and essentially made Medicaid off the table for many people in need of health care. Then came back and, worked on the premium affordable health care subsidies, or I should say didn't work on them, and now you got better than 11 million people who are without health care because they don't have the premium subsidies. And did all of this under the guise, laid off people, laid off more black women in the federal government, like hundreds of thousands of black women. Said all of this was because we were wasting money.
Right.
That the federal budget deficit was close to $2 trillion. We were wasting money. And now what is he doing? He's got us in a war where he's spending, right, in less than 2 weeks, $11 billion. Says we may be at this. He says we're going to be at it for another 5 to 6 weeks. Well, that's going to add at least another $40 billion
but
to a national debt.
$40 billion that they claim they don't have, so it adds to the national debt, which is out of control already.
Yes.
And
$38 trillion.
$38 trillion.
$38 trillion.
$38 trillion in national debt.
We got
$38 trillion in national. Whoa. I want people to understand that. $38 trillion in national debt going up when he said he would reduce the national debt, and he has not.
And it's going to get worse because now what they're talking about is with the strait through Iran being blocked and the oil supply being cut off to other parts of the world. They're saying that now we may see, with the oil supply down, with unemployment already going up, he hasn't produced jobs at the rate that we were seeing them under first President Obama, and then again we were seeing great, jobs being added every month under Biden. Well, we're now down, significantly down. Biden was adding about 120,000 jobs monthly. With Trump, we were down to 15,000 jobs monthly. And last month they said we might have seen a drop even farther below that. So now we got unemployment ticking up. We've got inflation now ticking up because when we have less oil, the cost of oil goes up. The supply goes down. The demand is more, or the demand can be is just as much or greater, but the costs go up because we've got less supply to meet the demand, and then we're not producing. So now they're worried about what they call a stagflation, which is going to hurt who? The millions of Americans who already have been struggling, and many, many more. This man has made matters significantly worse than they were when he assumed office on January 20 in 2025, and now he's made them all the more worse. It's catastrophic.
Definitely. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Dr. Roderick. Dr. Roderick in Nashville, Tennessee.
Good afternoon, Reverend Al. It's my pleasure to bring you greetings from Nashville, the home of American Baptist College, where Dr. Lafayette was president during my tenure there as a second undergraduate student. I am calling to say thank you, Dr. Al, for the work you continue to do on a daily basis. We know that you're a good Phi Beta Sigma man, and I'm bringing you Kappa greetings. I want to return quickly to what has been said, just to kind of clear the waters, about the Target fast. The Target fast title proper is what Pastor Jamal Bryant represented within the team, Nina and Tamika, who came together, not forgetting Nakima, who came up with the idea originally out of Minnesota. But I wanted to clear up the fact that the Target fast has ended. Pastor Bryant mentioned this yesterday on the Black Star Network, and I would encourage any hearers to go back and listen to that so that we know factually what Pastor Bryant said. There have been great accomplishments that he announced, rising up to the level of what the expectations were out of the Target fast. That portion of the Target
can you tell us what the specific accomplishments were? Because that's where I'm uninformed. And I supported Nakima and them since they called a boycott in the beginning, and I know that they have had certain demands. If what was raised by Pastor Bryant that was accomplished, because anytime I end a boycott, I don't say we made progress. I said they've done this specific demand, this specific. So tell me what that means, accomplished.
If you will allow me, Reverend Al, I will summarize the accomplishments. I would refer everybody specifically to Black Star Network to hear them specifically announced by Pastor Bryant. But the measures that he has asked for with respect to investing in black banks, investing in black businesses, remaining to the tune of giving the monies that they had promised. My understanding from having listened to his specifics on that has been achieved.
Well,
and so
no. Hold on. That I heard that. What I'm saying is, what does that mean specifically? When you say we're gonna give to black business, what is the number you're committing? When we settled the boycotts that we've done, whether it was Reverend Jackson from Budweiser all the way to what we've done here in New York around Macy's and others, we came and said this $50 million in businesses is done. This amount is going to black banks. That's what to say there's an understanding without us knowing the specifics is what Nakeem and them have raised and what I'm asking. I'm just asking for specifics because the chairman of Target, as you may know, met with Jamal and them here in my office, and they said then they'd work toward some general things. And again, what are the specifics?
Yeah,
and let me just add that there has been. Wait, sir. Let me just add. It has not been reported that they are investing in black banks as a result of this fast. And the other thing I just want to point out is, just think about the language used. A fast is temporary. Right? A boycott is until you get results. So if you even use the word fast, a fast is temporary and has temporary results. And that's what, if anything, happened here. A decline in the revenues? If it's a fast, now everybody goes back. You haven't moved the needle in a permanent way.
Well, let me interject to say this. I'm not Jamal Bryant. I am Dr. Rod Glatt.
No, I got you, but Dr. Glatt, you called us though. So
no. I want to be clear. I want to respond to it.
Right.
No, I want to respond to it. I want to respond to what you're saying. What you're asking me for is the specific amounts, the figures. He announced those. And that's all I was calling to say.
Yeah,
he announced those.
I've not heard that.
I don't recall what those.
Here's what I'm saying. I have not heard any specifics from anybody. But more importantly, I haven't heard Target announce anything. And there's no way that I would end anything with anybody that I would not make them come forward and announce that. I've not heard one statement from Target.
Isn't that what happened during the Operation Bread
Have you heard his statement? Have you heard his statement from Black Star Network?
Black Star Network can only report what's been said. They've not said that Target has said anything. The CEO of Target has not come forward and said anything. And my thing is, if I boycott Macy's, the chairman of the board has to hold a press conference with me. That's how I deal. Because without specifics, and I've been supporter of Jamal since he was first star pastor. But what I'm saying is that if I don't have specifics, how do I gauge you? Unless there's a figure, how do I know you did something? You could give me little or nothing and say, I did progress, what I told you. There's got to be some specifics, and you got to say it. You can't say somebody told me that. Let's take a break, be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton, Jones Austin, be right back.
Breaking news.
National Action Network. Power in action. 35 years of justice, impact, and purpose.
Wow. This is the Saturday after I had done 90 days in federal jail for leading a protest in Vieques, Puerto Rico. And I had went down to join Latino activists that were against the Navy bombings that was exercising Navy bombings that was causing asthma and health effects among the children there. And I was on my way to Saturday rally one Saturday, and I said, if they're going down there protesting that, and there were protesters, they would go out in the Navy base in the field and lay down, and they'd arrest them for being on federal property. And if they were doing that, then I would join them, because many of the Latino leaders went to jail with us protesting Amadou Diallo. I ended up having to do 90 days in federal jail. They transferred me from the federal prison in Puerto Rico. Me and 3 others that went, they only got 40 days. They said because I'd had a long sheet that it was of many other civil rights arrests. They gave me 90 days. I had to do 50 by myself. When I got out and went to the Saturday rally, Stephanie Mills, who we'd known each other since we were kids, she was there and sang at the rally that Saturday. That's her singing Home, as soon as I get home. 1, she knew I loved the song, but 2, it was appropriate because I was coming home. And we won that. They closed the Navy base in Vieques, Puerto Rico. You go there now, there's buildings and condos and a little plaque for the 4 of us. They call the Vieques 4. Hi, this is Reverend Al Sharpton. We are in critical times. Healthcare premiums are going up, oil and gas going up, all kinds of things that are costing us what we are comfortable to or what we were getting by. That's why I am asking you to be at the National Action Network Convention, where we're going to have leading political figures, leading civil rights leaders, leading activists, leading faith leaders, leading youth activists convene at the National Action Network Convention, April the 8th through the 11th, where we are going to strategize, hear the plenary sessions, question, and come out with how we back up this whole retrenchment of our rights and our ability to live. It's not just about rhetoric. It's about a strategy and get results. That's why we in National Action Network have always been on the front line, and we need you with us more now than ever. To register, all of our sessions are free. All of our sessions are free. To register, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net or call the toll-free number 1-877-626-4651. Don't worry about how tough they are. Worry about how tough we must become. We never had a victory without a fight. It's time to strategize and fight back.
I want to talk to you. I want to talk to you. Just break. I believe that.
Good morning, everybody. I hope the coffee has kicked in by now. I want to start by thanking your leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton, and everyone at the National Action Network for 35 years of standing up for civil rights and opportunity for everyone.
And I couldn't be more grateful for the way that you have blessed the lives of so many, including mine.
As we look today on King Day, let us not forget that we had to struggle to even have this day. They did not wake up one morning and say, let's give a federal holiday to Martin Luther King. People petitioned, people marched. Let us remember now, as we bring our children and grandchildren up the Potomac, that they can see the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, the Jefferson Memorial, and one memorial that never served as president, but changed this country more than any other American, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
This was an amazing MLK breakfast.
It is truly an honor, and more importantly, this is an important day for us.
I feel incredibly lucky and honored to be in this room on this day, celebrating Dr. King's legacy of civil rights, especially in the moment that we're facing on a national level. It feels like warmth and home being in this room.
So I'm encouraged by today. I'm encouraged that we're getting out, we're protesting, but more needs to be done. We need to lean in.
And let's keep fighting because the job is not done here. And I just feel so honored to get this award. It's not about getting an award, it's about doing the work. And let's keep up with the work.
Hello, New Orleans. Let me tell you straight. They did not think we could come and be here tonight. They cut budgets and advertising, but one black man, Rich Newton, has said, I don't care. My families come together every 4th of July weekend, and Essence will happen, because that's who we are. Give a big hand to Rich New Dennis for bringing us back. Why do we come? Because the essence of who we are is essential to what made this nation. We built this nation. We made this nation. We created the essential dollars that this nation lives off of. We don't care what bill they pass. We will not back up. We will not back down. We will not give in. We will not be chased out. We don't care who's in the White House. We will organize our house by house. We came over the Middle Passage. We survived slavery. We survived Jim Crow. Don't you give up now. Don't you turn back now. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. Reclaim your dignity. Reclaim your place. So we stand with the Global Black Economic Forum. We stand with Essence Magazine because that's who we are. So don't give in now. Yes, there's some rough days, but we've been through rougher days than this. Yes, Trump is a bad dude, but we beat badder dudes than Trump. So let's party with a purpose, because our rhythm and our music reminds us who we are, because we can smile through our pain and organize for our gain. Let's stand up and let's celebrate who we are. Thank you, God bless
America's #1 civil rights leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
You're live.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I'm your host, Reverend Al Sharpton. Jennifer Jones Austin is our co-host, as she is every Thursday on Policy Day. And let me just say on the last caller going out, when I started in the movement, civil rights movement, I joined at 12. At 13, your father, Jenny, appointed me the youth director of the New York chapter of Operation Breadbasket, which was the economic arm of Dr. King, who had just been killed a few months before I was appointed, but I was already a member. And national director was Jesse Jackson. We boycotted, as you know, everybody from A&P, which was the Walmart at that time, to Martin's, all of that. And you lay out your specific demands, and you settle or not settle based on those demands. And you require the owner or the CEO of their company to stand with you and say, yes, I've made these commitments. Now, that's how we've operated. That's how I've operated now 50-some years. Now, I'm not saying none of that didn't happen. I'm saying that until I know the specifics and hear it from Target, that I do not understand what we're talking about. Because I'm hearing people arguing over social media and the local organizers that started this in Minneapolis having one position and Reverend Brian and them having another position. And then some of the people now with Brian is taking a position. That so rather than get all caught up in that, I said, whatever they're going to do, they should announce it. And everybody should demand they announce it specifically so we got something to gauge. If they're not going to announce it, they ain't going to do it, period. End of story. And we shouldn't get up in a lot of back and forward. I respect Nikema Armstrong. I respect Reverend Brian. I preached for him since he started his church, Empowerment Temple. Very gifted young man. But we need to hold them accountable rather than us arguing about what we think they're going to do. Where is their statement of what they're going to do? Then the local organizers and the others can gauge whether or not it is worthy of re-engagement. That's all I'm saying.
I appreciate and agree with you, sir. And as you were talking in the segment before, I actually was visualizing the images from the years past when you all boycotted A&P and Martin's and the press conferences that were held and the images of the leaders of those companies, those corporations, standing with you when announcing the changes that were achieved, the demands having been met and the changes achieved. For me, the lawyer, right, there's factual, there's the facts, like the prima facie case where the facts are the facts, and then there's circumstantial evidence. And right now, what I have to lean into right now is there are a lot of reports out there right now about what Target did or didn't do or what demand met or what was the agreement that was achieved. And because I have not seen Target, when people have said, well, they didn't really do anything, come out and say, actually, no, this is what we did. We agreed with Jamal Bryant and with the others. What that tells me is they didn't do it. Because if they had something that they felt that they had achieved with the boycotters, with the fasters, then they would be so quick to say, yes, we did this. We worked together. If we're not hearing from them, their silence should tell us something.
And that's all I'm saying. Let's go with the phone. Let me get the sage of the South. Brother Jihad has something to say on this issue. Jihad?
I do have something to say on this issue. Good evening, afternoon to both of you. Well, let me first say, how do we believe the liars? And I'm talking about Trump and the drones coming to California. The man is. How do we make the statements they make credible when they just lie? They just lie. Now, drones, all of this sophisticated equipment we got shooting down stuff right over there in Israel, but a drone gonna leave Israel and come all the way 9,000 miles or whatever it is to California, and we're not gonna be able to knock it down,
right,
or trace it down. You know what I mean? And then they just lie. It's from one lie to the next lie to the next lie. We devastated their nuclear, but they will never. We look, here are the pictures. We blowed it up. You can't even get in there. I mean, we got bombs that go 20 feet deep. Then they come back, well, we didn't get it all. They just lie. So I don't understand how the reporters don't hold them accountable before you go to a next question. Get that one answered clearly first. But they just let them lie, and then ask another question, then they lie, then they ask another question, then they lie, then the reporters give their opinion. This is ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
And I would say to the religious leaders across the country in all of these cities, Muslim, Christians, and Jews, you need to get together. And you need to show a joint conference on this atmosphere so that this atmosphere won't get out of hand and we develop a religious war.
Right.
Don't wait until these people create the atmosphere and then the innocent Christians and innocent Muslims and innocent Jews will be killed based on this fool and his leadership and his accusations. Come out right now in every city that can hear our voice on Reverend After the Show and have a joint conference with Muslim, Christian, Jewish leadership talking about how we're going to quell this particular situation and create a better atmosphere so that we can deal with these lies. Other than that, we're going to start having innocent people killed all over the country. When this guy talking about drones coming to California, about the Iranians that kill Christians and kill this, and I'm going to Nigeria, the Muslims is killing Christians and not. Just lie behind lie. It's baffling to me. Now, let me quickly say about this, and this is my opinion on the Target issue. We can solve this real easy. With a simple phone call. Now, Reverend Al, I'm not of the status you are, nowhere near. And so Sister Jennifer, right? I could have somebody just call Reverend Bishop Brian, and let's hear what he's saying. Now, on Atlanta, it's all over the news. But since there's so much discrepancy nationwide, right, and people are bringing it on your show,
right?
Let's just find the facts so we could quell this and not get out of hand. We can knock this out real quick. But I agree with you 100%. Maybe Bishop Brian wasn't as astute as he should have been with the news conference, like what you're suggesting. That's a great suggestion. That's a great thing that might take place. But from what I heard, he said this morning on the news, there were four issues, and all three but one of them had been addressed. The $2 billion that was supposed to go towards, that they had made a commitment to after George Floyd, they will reinstitute that. The money for hiring black people in the DEI thing that they backed off of, they're going to implement that. This is, Bishop Brian says
but here's my question with that. Yeah. That the original position that they had made during George Floyd, it is the people there that they made it to that's saying they have not made that commitment, and Nakeem and them are continue to boycott. That's what I'm saying. So we don't have the confusion, because maybe they told Pastor Brian something. Make them say it. How come they've not said that in Minneapolis? I could call Jamal. Jamal called me and met with Target right here in my office. But I don't want to hear Jamal or Nakeem say what they're going to do. I want them to say what they're going to do. So then there is no confusion on whether they committed it or not.
I agree with you, and that's what I'm saying. Maybe Jamal didn't think that far, and once hearing that from you, he'll do it this evening. And we could throw this will be behind. But to be honest with you, if I'm Target and I see all of this confusion.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I just leave y'all to fight with each other and argue with each other.
They step back and say I never committed nothing, which is why you didn't see me jump out there and say anything other than that I supported it. But you got even the people with Jamal staying out there talking about they boycott. So not only can Target use the confusion, I'm confused, and I helped host one of the meetings. All right, thank you for your call. I love that idea about the religious leaders, by the way. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. Keeping it real. Sharpton. Jones Austin, be right back. Many people cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling and life purpose. In order to focus, you must also be clear on what you're focusing on. So if you're not clear on your purpose, if you're not clear on your life's calling, then focus on seeking that. Because if you just read the ways and roads you traveled that you didn't even choose, that were sort of just laid out for you by God, in that it's telling you, speaking to you about what your purpose is and what you were born to do and be. I learned the things that I didn't plan had to be planned by God, and God's plan was directed toward God's purpose in my life. And I focus on that. Not focus on what others do, not focus on how well they're doing or bad they're doing, but focus on whether I'm in line and aligned with what I'm supposed to be about.
And in order to move straight ahead, you have to be focused on the path you're running on.
London, yeah. We've got many problems here. We need you over our side. Yeah, you're invited anytime, please. Whenever you want to come.
There we go.
Guys! What's up, Doc?
So we are in not a political dilemma, we are in a moral dilemma. And if the black church does not come with a prophetic voice, then who's going to do it? We can go through all the data, all the statistics, all we're going through in the workshops, but the question is, where is the action going to be? We all believe in Jesus. Jesus didn't teach theology, he healed people. And they learned the nature of the theology based on his healing. We got to heal this nation. And if we heal this nation, the nation will return to our churches. But we've become silent and compromised. And we try to blame it on, I'm not in this. You are in this. You live it, your members live it. Unemployment now is higher now than it's been since the pandemic. Yet we survive.
Yes, sir.
There's no history in the world of any people that went through the kind of psychological, cultural, and physical slavery like blacks did in America. The only reason we're still here is because of our faith. We had no external strength. We had an internal strength. And it was the God that we were taught by our mamas and grandmamas that brought us through. And I don't care who's sitting in the White House, we cannot betray the God that brought us through.
Reverend Sharpton, how do we begin to make peace with our past?
I don't think it's our obligation to make peace with our past. I think it's our obligation to learn from our past and to understand that soon we gonna be the past. I mean, a lot of us act like we gonna be permanent and that the past is the past. If we draw on the strengths of the past and uphold the dignity and the integrity of our people, and then perform it at our highest level in our generation, as Dr. Moss said, that's our obligation. You know, one of the reasons that I've been so concerned about this cultural tone that we're in now is a lot of us have lost the dignity that our community has shown from Jamestown to now. I've questioned some of the artists that no longer sing to uplift us. And there's never been a generation that didn't use our music and our culture to lift us up. And the excuse is where they say, well, we just want to show what's there. But we never just accepted what was there. We always looked at what was there and looked through it and brought our people the way it needed to be. So in slavery time, we were singing Go Down Moses and Swing Low Sweet Chariot. We wasn't singing about the cotton picking nigga in the field. That's what we saw, but that's not what we sang. In slavery, in segregation time,
In segregation time, we were singing "We Shall Overcome." Ain't gonna let nobody turn me around. We wasn't singing "The Hole in the Back of the Bus." So where is this coming from? And that's what we need to challenge. I wish, all of this about our friend Barack announced it today. I wish Obama had announced here, because Lincoln did not free us. The abolitionist movement freed us. Lincoln accommodated to freedom fighters. He was not a freedom fighter. Kennedy accommodated the king. Johnson accommodated the king. We got to quit giving the wrong people credit for our history.
Around this is so wicked. Now they're going to, they released last night a memo that said that the FBI was investigating Good. They're trying to come up with something on the victim. Not they gonna investigate who shot her. The ICE agent shooting in the head 3 times. They're gonna investigate her. And you wonder why we need movements. You wonder why we need to stand up. Hakeem Jeffries was here Monday. Why we need to deal with this midterm election. Well, Reverend, I get calls on my radio show every day. Well, I don't see where voting changed them. All right, let me tell you where, if they lose the Congress this year, where it changes. The Speaker would be Hakeem Jeffries, who grew up right here in Name, as he said on Monday. The Speaker decides then the calendar for the legislative session. The chairs of the committees become Democrats. So the Judiciary Committee, now watch this in the barbershop. The chair of the Judiciary Committee, y'all saw the Judiciary Committee have the hearing and brought in the special counsel yesterday. Well, the chair this time, if the Democrats win, would be a Democrat who could then subpoena the Attorney General Bondi, all of the folks that were involved in January 6th. They can subpoena the vice for all of them, because you've got the power of the gavel. Wonder why nobody has asked Pence how he felt running for his life January 6th. Well, if you get the Judiciary Committee, you can subpoena Pence.
This is a defining moment. As our world faces urgent challenges, the movement comes together. National Action Network's 35th anniversary and convention, April 8th through the 11th. Leaders, activists, and community voices united for justice and change. The moment is now. Be in the
You're live.
Keeping it real, keeping it real. I am your host, Reverend Al Sharpton, and with that, Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is our co-host. Attorney Jones Austin, we saw today that Congressman Jim Clyburn announced he will be running for re-election. Some have said because he's 85 that he shouldn't run again. I believe Maxine Waters is 87, 88. Others are saying that we should respect elders as long as they can function. And I think that also there is the question in terms of Clyburn, where they're trying to do redistricting in South Carolina, and he had the fear that if he stepped out and they changed the lines, there's no one that could win despite wherever they do the lines. But it brings up this whole thing of age in our community. I've said twice to the board that I want to work out of the Board of National Action Network, that I want to work out how, when I step out, how y'all do a succession plan. And then when we start dealing with getting these properties, we prolonged it. I think, and I'm not doing that because I think there should be an age limit. I think there's just, I founded an organization and built it for 35 years. I got other things that I want to do and continue to be active. How do we deal with, though,
this whole exploitating of the age issue that people will try to put in our politics and turn the young against the old. How do we come to some consensus on what the criteria ought to be?
One of those who falls in the camp that Jim Clyburn should run. He should run for re-election. This is not the moment where if you have an individual, whatever their age may be, where they are demonstrating that they have all of their faculties. We were just down in Selma. I was able to join you in Selma, and we saw him at the church.
Yeah.
That was the foundation, the beginning place in Selma where they marched from, and he had all his faculties: thoughtful, had fervor, had fire. Like, this is not the moment where if you got a car that is driving has to drive down the highway at a major speed, it's not time to change drivers in the middle of the road, right? That's just not how you do it. We need him in place. We need name recognition right now. So yes, I think he should continue. I believe that we live in a society where we don't do enough to respect people who have wisdom. We take people who have done great things, and then we think, oh, they're too old, and we cast them aside. And very often we put in place people who do not have knowledge, don't have skills that have been strengthened and honed by years of experience. We need to find a way to work together so that there are people who are coming up. Look, I have no idea what's next for me, but I know that, like, you've worked with me through the years. That prepares me for whatever's next. It doesn't have to be the very same thing, but we just need to, and look, I'm not a generation younger than you, but I'm doing that right now with people who are younger than me, making sure that they have exposure, making sure that they have skills building and knowledge, not to be pushed out, but so hopefully we can work together. And when the time comes for somebody to step in to another role, that they're ready. But there's no such thing. There shouldn't be. That just because you're old, you need to be cast aside.
Yeah, no, that's where I am.
Aside, yeah.
Because I mean, I was mentored. I was mentored by your father and by Reverend Jackson, and I praised them and held them up till the day they died. I mean, you don't push them aside. Really? I used to every day check on them. And if I heard Reverend Jackson was on an airplane, now you come to New York, we take care of him, give him my card, pick him up. I don't understand that mentality, but see, I think you're right. We need to know that they have the capacity, the ability, the young people that we mentor, but we also got to know that they have the integrity. They have to have more ambition, more than ambition. I mean, a lot of young people that have the ambition to be the next whatever, but they don't have integrity, and they will do anything to get there. And if you have people that will do anything to get to a certain position, they will do anything when they get in that position to stay there. And the community can't be trusting people that will do anything just to maintain a position. Let's go to D in Atlanta.
Can I quickly say to you that I just wanted to quickly say, I went to see Diana Ross 3 times in the last year, 82 years old.
Right.
I didn't go see some of these younger people but once, because she's still got it and she's still capable. She's still able. Just because she's 82, I don't need to go see her.
You went to see Diana Ross. You didn't go see Nicki Minaj. Oh, she was at the White House. I'm sorry. Go to D in Atlanta, Georgia. D in Atlanta, Georgia. You keep it real with Al Sharpton.
Ramel, I hear you have jokes with that Nicki Minaj. Hello to you and Jennifer. And I really want to talk about Trump and his promises, but I want to say hello to Jennifer. And I hear you all often, Reverend Al, you mentioned Reverend William Augustus Jones. And Jennifer, I had an opportunity to hear him at Wheat Street when Michael Neely Harris was the pastor there. So when I hear you guys talk about him, I am aware of who you're talking about, and I know he was a wonderful person,
Thank you.
And a great speaker.
And Michael Harris was her uncle,
Yes.
You know, I never could get the relationship together. I thought, for some reason, I was thinking that the wife was the one.
My father's baby sister. My father's baby sister was married to Michael.
Right. That's right.
That's what I figured. That's what I thought. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. And she's a beautiful woman. I haven't seen her lately.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand the son is pastoring too now. But I'm back at where I was. They took me to Big Bethel when I was a baby, but I left there when William Holmes Borders was at Wheat Street, and I stayed there through Michael Harris. And but now I'm back home at Wheat Street. But listen, I digress. That was an aside to you, Jennifer. Right now.
Wait a minute. Let me hold you over the break, and we'll come right back to you first. Keeping it real. Sharpton, Jones, Austin. Be right back. Hi, I'm Reverend Al Sharpton, inviting you to be at the National Action Network National Convention with faith leaders, political leaders, where we plan our civil rights strategy. It is April the 8th through the 11th at the Sheraton, New York. It's free. Call 1-877-626-4651 or go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net and register now before we have to close down. I'll see you. Robert Culp used to do a show with Bill Cosby, I Spy, and he did a documentary on breadbasket, Robert Culp.
Oh, wow.
You need to see that documentary. It's great.
Absolutely.
I lived this. I didn't read this. I was there.
You true to this?
I'm true to this.
Not new to this.
I ain't new to this.
Vote to phone Troy.
He was, Jack O'Dell was one of the guys that Kennedy warned Dr. King about. Say he was a communist. Jack O'Dell and Stanley Levinson. And Reverend brought him in. Nobody else in the movement would deal with Jack. Reverend brought him in.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Just her.
Just her.
But there's stories behind all of it. It didn't just happen.
But I am somebody. I may be on welfare, but I am somebody. I may be in jail, but I am somebody. I may be an educator, but I am somebody. I am black, beautiful, proud. I must be respected. I must be protected. I am somebody.
Come today. I see the Reverend Jesse Jackson is here. Yes. Lord, we thank you for the Reverend Jesse Jackson. Yes. I see the Honorable Maxine Waters is here. Yes. We thank for Maxine Waters. You see the Reverend Al Sharpton is here. Yes. We thank
Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. Keep hope alive on tomorrow night and beyond. Young America, hold your head high now. We can win. You must never stop dreaming. Face reality, yes, but don't stop with the way things are. Dream of things as they ought to be. Dream. Face pain. But love, hope, faith, and dreams will help you rise above the pain. Use hope and imagination as weapons of survival and progress, but you keep on dreaming, young America. Dream of peace. Peace is rational and reasonable. War is irrational in this age and unwinnable. Dream of teachers who teach for life and not for living. Dream of doctors who are concerned more about public health than private wealth. Dream of lawyers more concerned about justice and the judgeship. Dream of preachers who are concerned more about prophecy than profiteering. Dream on the high road with sound values. We must never surrender to inequality. Women.
Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton time. It's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. You need to keep it real with Reverend Al Sharpton right here on Uber TV.
Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is. Every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, to call in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Sharpton.
Happy 20th anniversary to Reverend Al Sharpton on 20 years of Keeping It Real. 2 decades of truth-telling, fearless advocacy, and keeping the people informed and empowered. Thank you for always speaking power to justice and standing firm for what's right. Here's to 20 years of impact and many more to come.
Many people cannot focus because they have not really come to terms with their calling and life purpose. In order to focus, you must also be clear on what you're focusing on. So if you're not clear on your purpose, if you're not clear on your life's calling, then focus on seeking that. Because if you just read the ways and roads you traveled that you didn't even choose, that were sort of just laid out for you by God, in that it's telling you, speaking to you about what your purpose is and what you were born to do and be. I learned the things that I did.
You're live.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host, God. Keeping it real. Reverend Al Sharpton, Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is our co-host. Don't forget Politics Nation with Al Sharpton. I'll be live 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturday and Sunday, and I've got some major guests coming on, and we're going to deal with all these issues from what is going on in Iran and what is not going on with our health care, what is not going on in terms of this SAVE Act where they're trying to take back the Voting Rights Act and other issues that they're ducking. I'm going to make them answer it. Watch it Saturday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, and again Sunday, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll be live both nights, different guests, but all the top of the field of what we're concerned about. Then I'll be at the Saturday Action Rally. I was not there last Saturday. I was speaking at Reverend Jackson's funeral, but I'll be there looking for you. I'll be dealing with Women's History Month, and I'll be dealing with where we need to go from here. Be there at the historic Mother AME Zion Church, 137th Street, between Lenox Avenue and 7th Avenue in Harlem, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. You that are not in the New York area, You can watch it live on Impact Television. And National Action Network National Convention is April 8th through the 11th. I've not dropped the names, but I can tell you everybody is going to be there on the panels speaking. Everybody that are key figures in 26 and in 28 are going to be there. You need to be there. It's all free. We're dealing with everything from the political empowerment to economic empowerment, some of our leading businessmen to with the role of the church. It's all free. You can come for a day. You can come for half a day. You can come for all 3 days. The hotel is already almost sold out. And we're finding other hotels that have people. Register now. Go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, www.nationalactionnetwork.net, or call the toll-free number at 1-877-626-4651, 1-877-626-4651. Let me go back to D. D, you're keeping it real with Sharpton and Jones Austin.
Reverend Al, I want to keep it real with you, too. I watched Reverend Jackson's funeral, and there were a whole lot of great speakers, and I think one of the best speakers of all times is President Obama. But, Reverend Al, you stole the show. You were the speaker of the day, as I'm concerned. But what I called in to say today is about the lies that Trump is putting out there, and what are we going to do about it? And since I'm a retired teacher and I'm broke and I'm poor, I can't do it by myself, but I'm willing to help any Democrat who wants to put up an ad to answer this. When Trump ran for office, he said he would lower grocery prices.
Right.
He said he would end forever wars. He promised not to cut Medicare, and he would come up with something to replace Obamacare. He said he would end inflation and make America more affordable. He said he would drain the swamp. Meanwhile, he and his family and companies have made billions of dollars that he's been in office. So where are the Democrats, and where is the ad that should say, is this what you voted for?
Yeah, I like that. All right. You threw it out there. Thank you for your call. It's Policy Day. I see Evangelist Ramsey on the page saying that they marched again. This is 100 and some. I'm trying to find her. So many people are giving us messages today. But thank you for keeping it going. Awesome activist Evangelist Ramsey. It's 112 week, okay, of DEI today. That's where they go out every week, 112 weeks now, in front of the guy that started the anti-DEI thing. That's why I can't, until these companies come out and say that they are not changing, they say it, not that they tell me in private, then I got to keep their feet to the fire. Let's go to Todd in Cleveland, Ohio. Todd.
Reverend Al Sharpton, Jennifer Jones Austin. So for those, and I am among you who honor Gladys West, a major contributor to the GPS system that we have, I would like to put it out there. She published her paper that was published May 1st, 1986. Is definitely worth reading. It's a little difficult for those that may not know the terminology, but it's a well-written, thorough paper, and that's where she got her notoriety for being the contributor to the GPS system that we now know today and actually take for granted. I read it once in the 90s, and I read it again just a few weeks ago after her death on January 17th. So having said that, for the great Gladys West, a modest unsung hero as far as I'm concerned, I want a little bit of education about what you were talking about, Reverend Sharpton, in reference to the percentages that you gave about black unemployment, black income versus white income, and black home ownership versus white home ownership. Because I wanted to get clarity as to, have the numbers of black people gone up and just the percentages in comparison to the white people gone down since 1980 as far as home ownership and upper middle class income? Because sometimes that's where people get a little bit lost. And then I want to give a clear explanation as to where the base of this problem is, because I know where the base of the problem is, where that particular matter is referencing.
No, the data that I gave was that the percentages went down, not numbers. The
Went down from what time period?
I said from 1980 till now, the percentages have decreased on an almost annual basis in terms of home ownership and the wealth gap.
But are there more people, black people today, that actually own homes than there were people in 1980? I get the percentages, but aren't there more black people that own homes today?
It may or may not be. It's irrelevant. If you're dealing with a question of equality and dealing with a question of advancement, the percentages say that fine. If you got more black people than you probably have more white people. So the question becomes, the percentage gives you where the policy was working or not.
Okay. I'm just wanting to make sure that people at least take a look at that, because I actually think it is relevant.
Well, I actually think it is not, because if I'm sitting in the Oval Office and talking to a president and say that we need to have programs, which I have for the last 3 Democratic presidents, that will deal with black wealth as opposed to white wealth, and that will deal with black home ownership as opposed to white ownership in terms of comparison, black unemployment compared to white unemployment. I don't want him to say, give me a head count. No, if we have a commitment that we're going to raise it by X amount of percentage, whatever the population may be, that is what I'm there for. I'm not there to do the census. I'm there to make sense.
I understand your position.
So wait, if I can just interject here and just add, I think I appreciate what you're saying, Todd, but think about it this way. The percentage of black people in America has not gone down since the 80s. And so if the how do I say this? If the rate is going down, what that would help you appreciate is that the number is going down as well. The only way that the number can go up and the rate can go down is if you have a lot more black people living in America today than there were in the 80s. And that's not the case.
But we do.
No, we do not. The number of black people has not grown. The number of black people in America, let me back up. The Hispanic community is the community that is growing exponentially. It is not the black people that are growing in significant numbers. That's not happening, Todd. The other thing to keep in mind here, but wait, let me finish. The other thing to keep in mind here is that you also want to look at what has happened since the Great Recession. And what we know about the Great Recession is that we had more black Americans who were buying homes before in 2008 or in the years prior. And we have not yet gotten back to those pre-Great Recession numbers. So that tells you that the rates are going down and that there are less people. The other thing that you got to add to, Todd, is that we have student loan debt that is on the rise. So you have a lot of black people who can't really afford homes. But let's also add, even if they're purchasing homes, if they're not purchasing homes that are actually growing in terms of equity,
value,
it doesn't matter.
Allow me to interject. There were not 46 million black people in this country in 1980. That our numbers have grown significantly since 1980. So I'm not disputing how bad it is that the wealth gap has gotten larger, and I'm not saying that it's not bad, because it is bad. The home ownership gap is bad. What I'm saying is the reason why I say the numbers are relative is because it gives people a better idea as to what the actual population is that needs to be addressed and assessed.
It gives them, make it relative in terms of what?
Well, somebody will hear 60%, 100%, 1%, and don't know what the population number is that it's based on. That could drift them, that could send them in a direction that may not send them in the direction of the truth. So I
it is the truth. It doesn't. No. Wait. It is the truth. When we say the percentage, wait a minute. When we say the percentage, you call and ask somebody that I report. When we say the percentage has decreased, I did not say the numbers have decreased. The percentage is the percentage no matter what the population is. Let's not try to change the premise of what I said. Now, if you want to talk about population, that's another discussion. We were talking about the percentage of wealth, the percentage of home ownership, percentage of jobs. That does not matter no matter what the numbers are. You're basing the percentage on whatever the numbers are.
The base of the problem comes from when they get before they get into kindergarten.
He's gonna have to call back.
You're gonna have to call tomorrow because wait a minute. You're gonna have to call back tomorrow because you're trying to avoid the issue. You throw out something and when I answer it, you can't deal with it. That's why I call it keeping it real. You question what I said. Now you're going to kindergarten. I'll take you to college. Call me tomorrow. Try me. Let's take a step out of here. Thank you to Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin. Let me thank all of you that called in, listened, and you that called in and couldn't get through but hung in there anyhow. Remember, whatever you do, wherever you go, however you feel, tell somebody, tell everybody, tell anybody. Reverend Al told you personally, keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. I'll talk to you tomorrow.